Hey, my loves, you can call me Lashe, and today we're going to be doing something a bit unusual, and that is me carrying you along in today's tutorial, literally, because as opposed to doing a voiceover, I'm explaining as we go. I hope you understand, and I apologize for any audio discrepancies in case you can't hear me clearly or the audio sounds a bit gritty. I apologize, my loves. So let's just get right into it. Today we'll be cutting and sewing this beautiful Aso Oke baggy cargo pants. Let's move. So I already have my pattern drafted out and I'm going to use that pattern to cut the Aso Oke pants. But to start with, what you want to do is to separate your Aso Oke because you know it comes in one continuous piece. So you have to go ahead and separate them. But obviously before you separate them, you want to make sure you have the right length for your Aso Oke trouser. So the client I'm sewing this for, our length is 46 inches and we'll be adding an elastic band of about 2 inches. This is the elastic band we'll be making use of and it's about 2 inches. So that means 2 inches for the band will be subtracted from the full length of the trouser. I hope you understand that. That means you leave out 2 inches, but what I like to do is leave out 1.5 inches so that by the time I'm joining the Aso Oke pants to the band, the extra 0.5 inches serves as a sewing allowance. To start with, I'll just go ahead and cut out this part that is already torn. Now that we have that cut out, you start from 1.5 inches and then you measure down to your 46 inches. But obviously we're going to be adding sewing allowance, although in this case we're not going to be hemming the hem of our trouser, we're going to frill it out. Once we get to that point, I'll show you exactly what I mean. So the full length is 46 inches, but just so that everything comes to the normal length that is meant to be once we're done, I'll go ahead and add about 1.5 inches for, let's just call it sewing allowance. Go ahead and just mark that out. Once you have it marked out, you can go ahead and cut it and then you use this to replicate the remaining length. So you can go ahead and pin them together just so it doesn't shake around, thereby messing up your measurements. Another thing to note is that I make use of 3 panels for the front of my Aso Oke trouser. So 1, 2, and 3 would serve as the front of the Aso Oke baggy trouser. And this is just only for one leg. So the front part of the first leg, you use 3. The front part of the second leg, you use 3 panels as well. And then I will explain how I go about the back once we get there. So let me just go ahead and fast cut all these remaining pieces. So that will be 6 pieces that I'm cutting for the front. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. These 6 pieces, like I explained earlier, is for the front part of our trouser. 3 for the right leg, 3 for the left leg. Now let's move on to the back part of our trouser. So for the back part, we're going to repeat the same thing. Cut out 3 pieces with this yellow Aso Oke. Now that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This 6 is for the back side of our trouser and this 6 is for the front part of our trouser. There's no difference. It's just to keep them apart and to make sure you don't end up sewing more than necessary together. For the back, I'm going to be adding another piece because you know normally the back of your trouser is always wider than the front of your trouser to majorly account for your butts, especially those of you that have big butts. I'll go ahead and cut 2 panels just like this, 2 of these panels for the back. So picture this, the three for the front, I'm going to join them normally without adding anything. But the three for the back, after joining the three panels together, I'm going to add an extra panel of another Aso Oke color to the sides of the back panel. I hope you understand what I mean. And if you don't, just stick around. I'm going to give visual representation of everything I'm explaining. So let's just go ahead and cut out the side pieces of the back panel. So this is the pretty Aso Oke that I will be mixing with the main Aso Oke for our trouser. So what I was explaining earlier is you go ahead and you cut out the same length, two of the same length on this Aso Oke as well, just so you can add it to the sides of your Aso Oke at the back. So let's go ahead and replicate the length of this on this. Just like earlier, if you have this, make sure you cut it off. If not, it's going to dig into your trouser by the time you are done, and it can keep on unraveling from there. You don't want a situation where you are done with your trouser and you give it to your client, or you end up wearing it yourself and you find that the trouser keeps on unraveling from this point. So you make sure you cut it out, okay? Go ahead and pin this down as well, just so it doesn't shift around and you don't end up with different length of panels. To that visual representation that I promised, go ahead and separate these three pieces. This three is for the right side of our trouser at the back, and then you take one of this blue piece. So what I mean is, assume we've already gone ahead to join the three piece together like this. We have to now join this to the ends of the panels. Do you understand what I mean? You join it that way. This part is longer than or wider than the front panels. You can go ahead and pin these four pieces now together, so you know exactly what you are joining together and what you're not meant to join together. Four pieces for the back, and then three pieces for the front. So let's go ahead and just join this together. I'll take it to the machine now just to show you how I personally join mine. Some people join theirs like this. They place one panel on top of the other and join with a straight line, or sometimes some of them use zigzag machine or stitches to join theirs. But personally, I join mine like this, and I go ahead and open the seam and iron it flat. So that way what you have on the other edge is a very seamless finish, that it becomes a bit difficult to know where the joining is when you're done stitching your panels together. So let's go to the machine right now. But before that, actually, I want to quickly show you or explain to you differences between Aso Oke fabric. Now, this one is 100% cotton Aso Oke, and it is double weave. I don't know how to explain that double weave in details, but it's making use of a method that there's threadings at the front and at the back, and then they weave them over each other. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's the best way I can explain it. And then there's another Aso Oke that might be 100% cotton as well, but it's a single weave. Obviously, that one will be a bit lighter than this. And at the end of the day, it boils down to quality and the vision you're going for. Most of the time, I make use of double weave Aso Oke, 100% cotton. And there's another Aso Oke too that they make use of for gele. You see it most of the time in all these Asoebi styles and the likes. Let me show you what I mean. This is another Aso Oke, and you can see how light it is. I don't know if you can really see the colors of my nails underneath this. That's just to show how transparent it is. And this is made out of polyester, unlike this that is made out of cotton. So that's the difference. You can see how light this is. Most of the time they use this for gele making. You can see how easy it is to maneuver and manipulate. So you use this to tie your gele, all those your 100 steps 100 steps of gele. This is the best for that. If you are trying to use this for your gele, you can definitely make use of it, but it is not as malleable as this, and it might, be a bit more difficult than this. There are other types of Aso Oke, but for now, what I'm focusing on is just the 100% cotton and the polyester version, and the double weave and the single weave. So if you have any question, let me know in the comment section. And if we have some Aso Oke experts that can fully explain the difference between double weave and single weave, please share your knowledge with us, okay, in the comment section, and explain exactly the differences. So now let's go to the sewing machine. Okay, so now at the sewing machine, what you want to do is pick two panels together. For those of you who can tell where the right sides of Aso Oke is, good for you. Go ahead and place them right sides facing each other. And then using about 0.3 to 0.4 inches, you sew a straight line all across, and you repeat this for the other parts. We're currently starting with the back panel, so once I'm done joining this, I move over to the yellow side. Keep in mind that this blue panel is the panel that will sit at the sides of your cargo trousers. So imagine you have the front part of your trouser, and then the part that is going to connect the front and back together is this blue panel. So keep that in mind while you're stitching the panels together, okay? Let's go ahead and sew. Also, make sure to keep your lines as straight as possible, okay? Now that we're done with this, the next thing is to join this yellow to the other yellow, and then you repeat that. I'm just going to walk you through this back panel just so you can get the visual representation of what I mean, and then I'll go ahead and stitch the rest together off camera just to save your time. Yes, I'm conscious and worried about your time, boo. Let's go. We have the blue here, the first panel of the yellow, second panel of the yellow, and I'm going to be joining the third panel of the yellow, same style. So go ahead and stitch that down, and then I'll go ahead and join the remaining off camera as I stated earlier. Now that you're done stitching, you can see how the seams are, especially with the same colored Aso Oke. The next thing you want to do is take this to your ironing board and give it a very good press. But make sure to open up the seams. This is key. It is important so that we can achieve that seamless look we want at the other side, okay? So like I mentioned, you want to make sure that you are opening up the seams before you iron, and then you can use your steam iron to press it down so that the steam can appropriately relax this sewing allowance. And if you don't have a steam iron, you can manually add water with your spray bottle or the likes. So just to quickly show you, once you iron that side flat, you can see how seamless it's already looking. It's almost as if this is how they weaved the Aso Oke together. Obviously, we know that's not true, but the point is, look at how finished it is once you stitch it with this method, as opposed to placing the panels onto one another and join with a straight line. Once you're done ironing this side down flat, you turn to the other side and give it a very good press too. And this is what you should have, okay? So back to the sewing machine, I'm just going to join the other panels together off camera, and then we'll go ahead and cut out the front and back part of our Aso Oke trouser with the pattern I already drafted. Can you see how clean and crisp the lines are? That is exactly what you want to achieve when you use this method to join your panels together. This is so pretty. So guys, I've completely joined all the panels together for both the front and the back. Basically, all you need to cut out when it comes to this Aso Oke baggy trouser is the crotch. That's the main thing. And I already have a drafted version here. This is for a size 8 to 12 as it's a baggy trouser. So here is the full drafted pattern. I will just go ahead and pick up the two panels, because now, even though we add individual panels of like 4, especially for the back, right now we have 2 panels. So when you hear me say panels, I'm referring to this and this. So I'm picking up the 2 panels for the back. Make sure to align them properly so you can add the pattern on it, and then you can cut it out as smoothly as possible. Go ahead and make use of your pins just to hold everything in place. Don't forget, this pattern is for the front panel, and what we're trying to cut out right now is the back panel. Assuming we're cutting this out on our normal fabric or we're drafting it normally, you're going to make use of the front panel to cut out the back panel. And to do that, you have to make sure that you have about 2 inches thereabout here. But because this is a baggy trouser, I'm going to go with about 3 inches. From this side, you go in by 2 inches. I like dropping this side by maybe 0.5 inches, 0.7 inches, or 1 inch, I guess, depending on how big the butt you're working with is. For this one, I'm going to drop it by, let's say, 0.7. And then all you have to do is just connect all this together like so. And for the upper part, typically I don't add the normal 1 inch or 1.5 inches that you would normally add here to make sure that the back of your trouser is well covered. But because this is a very baggy trouser, what I do is I just add about 0.5 to 0.7 inches, maximum of 1 inch, but I rarely make use of 1 inch because, like I said, it's already baggy. We've already increased the crotch level. It should suffice, but just to be on the safe side, you can go ahead and connect this like so before cutting it out. Remember, the only part you're cutting out is this upper part and the crotch area. Do not cut this side or this side at all. And here is our back panel. That's basically all you need to do. Let's move to the front panel of our trouser. Here is the front panel. I've gone ahead to pin them together so they are aligned, and all you need to just do is place your pattern on the fabric and make sure everything is properly aligned. Okay, another reason why I don't bother adding that much to the back side, normally where you add 1 inch to this side, another reason why I don't do that is because for the front pattern I already reduced it about 1 inch, so that would also factor in for the back panel. Because the front is already dropped, it will really hug your waist or your client's waist when you're done sewing. Just like the back pattern, make sure you don't cut out the edges. You have no business with the edges for now until it's time to join them together. Okay, so all you need to cut out is just the crotch area and the upper parts. Now that we're done with both the front and back panel, the next thing to do is to join the sides. So you join the side of the front panel to the side of the back panel, but you're not going to join this crotch line or this crotch area because we're going to be adding our cargo pockets. So let's go ahead and join them together before we move to the cutting of our cargo pockets. Okay, just so you see what I mean, you place your back panel and then you place your front panel on the back panel, and all you need to do is just to join these sides together straight down with a straight stitch. So I'm going to use 1 inch to connect this together and repeat that for the other side. So after that, we'll then go ahead and cut our cargo pockets. Okay, so for the cargo pockets, we'll be making use of these patterns that I've previously drafted to cut out our main fabric, and I'm going to be using this blue Aso Oke, the one that is on the side of the trouser, to cut out the pockets. That way it really complements the whole look, and the trouser is not overshadowed or overpowered by the yellow Aso Oke. It creates a beautiful balance is what I'm trying to say. So let's go ahead and cut out these pieces. So starting with the front pocket, we'll be needing 1.5 or 1.25 of this Aso Oke piece. So what I'm going to do is I will cut out this part, and once I have these two pieces cut out, I can then divide this particular one into two just to add to this place and make up the whole pocket. Obviously, we're going to join it together just like we did the cargo trousers. So let's go ahead and cut it out. And also, I tend to leave about 0.5 inches. I know I already added a sewing allowance, but I realized that I want it to be a bit taller. So what I end up doing is adding 0.5 inches to the upper parts. And since this is for both our right and left side, I will cut another piece out. That way we have 3 pieces and one will be divided into 2. This way we have one for each side. So once I join these 2 panels together, it's easy for me to cut out this side for the pocket entry. And for the main pockets, we're going to be having 2 main pockets, one at the mid section of our trouser and one towards the hem of our trouser. So for the main pocket, I'll repeat basically the same thing we did for the front pocket, and that is to map out the length and cut it twice, so one for this side and the other for this side. And just like the front pockets we just cut out, I'm going to add 0.5 inches to the upper part of this as well. just so I have enough allowance to turn appropriately. This is for one side of the trouser, so we'll cut the same thing for the other side of the trouser as well. For the other main trouser, that one would have some sort of fringe dangling down. You'll see what I mean when we get to the joining of the pockets. So that one would have about this much thread acting as fringe. So what I'm going to do is, just as I've folded this out, I'm going to go ahead and use the same measurements to cut out the pockets. So the only difference is we have about this much for the fringe. So repeating the same thing, cut out the remaining 3 pieces for the pockets. For the pocket that won't be having that fringe at the upper part, what we're going to do is add what is known as a flap. So the measurement is basically you putting this together and measuring across. Here we have about 14 inches, but you want to make sure that your flap is a bit wider than your main pockets. So instead of 14 inches, I'm going to make it 16 inches. So for the flap, it will be folded this way, and we'll be running a double stitch, a straight double stitch from this end across like this and back to this end. And then this is the side we'll join to the trouser. So it's going to come down like this. Cut out the second part as well. So these are basically all the pocket pieces for our cargo pants. And let me just run you through how I'm going to stitch them together, because I won't be taking you guys to the sewing machine with me. To start with, this is the pocket that is closest to the hem of your trouser. All you have to do is just to use the method we use in joining our Aso Oke trouser. Use that same method to stitch it down. Once you're done stitching, make sure to open up the seams and iron them down. And for this part, you run a straight double stitch from this point across to this side. Don't bother sewing down this side, or else you just be left with a very bulky finish, and we don't want that. We want everything to lay as flat and as neat as possible. So you repeat that for this as well. For the pockets with the fringe, that's the one in the middle part of your trouser. Join them at the sides with a straight stitch, open up and iron the seams open flat. Let's assume we're going ahead to stitch this middle together. All you have to do is pinch it forward, bring it forward like so, and run a straight stitch to hold these sides down. Once you're done with that, you cut out, I will bring it back to show you, but just to explain away first, cut out this side and fringe out the middle. So all you're left with is the vertical threadings of this Aso Oke that will serve as the fringe. So you repeat that for the second side as well. For the front pockets, the same thing, join the sides together and open up the seam to iron it, and then you can use your pattern to cut out the pocket opening. So you run a double stitch from the upper parts across and back to this side. You know we divided one panel into 2. This is the divided panel. So once you've divided it, go ahead and join it to the main panel that you have and press down with your steam iron. And once you have your block of, should we call it square or rectangle? Once you have your square, you use your pattern to cut it out. And if you are not making use of any pattern, it's very simple. For this one, I'm making use of the length 11.5 by 9.5 basically, and then the length for this pocket side is 5 inches. So by the time I'm folding in about 0.5 inches here, we'll have like 4.5 inches left at this side, and then the length for you to start cutting is about 7 inches. So you can make use of that measurement if you don't want to make use of any pattern paper. And we're done with the front part. This is the part with the fringe. So I said I was going to explain how I go about the fringe. Once you've joined the back together, all you have to do is just fold this, fold the allowance you have left forward. I made use of 3 inches. You can see 3 inches for this fold. And once you've done that, just run a straight stitch by the sides just to hold it together. And then you can go ahead and cut out as close to the stitch line as possible. I like leaving about 0.5 inches or 0.3 inches at the top. The essence of separating this flap is to ensure that you can create your fringe. So once you're done with that, all you have to do is take a pin or your seam ripper or anything really, any pointed tool that you can get your hands on, and use it to separate the horizontal threadings inside your cargo, inside your Aso Oke, I mean. So you just put your pointy object or your pointy tool, and then you separate like so. It's very easy, very straightforward. As long as you cut out the bindings by the side, as long as you separate the flap from the bindings, then it should be very easy for you to remove those horizontal threadings. And here you go. Can you see how the fringe is already fringing? So you repeat this for the other side and for the other pockets. And that is the end of this one. The final pocket is the pocket that will be towards the hem of your trouser, the pocket that comes with the flap. Can you see this beautiful contrast? So pretty. For this one, to explain it once again, all you have to do is turn it right sides facing each other and take in about 0.5 inches. Once you've taken in about 0.5 inches at this side and at this other side, and if you cut out these points, you join this side too. But for this one, I didn't cut out the middle. All I did was cut out the main fabric lengthwise, and then I folded it into half. So once you're done joining with 0.5 inches, you take it to, I don't know if you can see this stitch, but you take it to your sewing machine and run 2 stitches just for it to give it that clean professional finish. You attach it this way so you can fold it like this and top stitch across the top. So now that we're done with the pockets, it's time to attach the pocket to your cargo pants. So this is one leg of our trouser and this is the front part of it. What you need to do now is to place this front pocket like so, but make sure to open it up. I prefer the method where this goes into the seam allowance. It just gives it this very neat finish, and that is what I'm going to be doing. I forgot while I was joining the sides together. If not, I would have left the appropriate length for the pocket to slide in through easily and then for me to stitch it down again. But no worries, what I'll just do is use my seam ripper to remove the stitches from this side, and then I can fit in my pocket. But before that, take it to your machine and you fold your seam allowance 2 times. So you fold it twice and run a stitch across, and then you can run a second stitch just to give it that clean finish and professional look as well. So I'm taking this to my sewing machine now to do this, and once I'm done, I would open this seam with my seam ripper, insert this, and then I'll come back to show you how to fix the pocket essentially. Also, you want to make sure you take it to your sewing machine and iron down about 0.5 inches from this side and this side, so it is easy for you to stitch down onto this fabric. I've folded this side of the front pocket, and I've also given this a very good press, as you can see. So the sewing allowance is already well laid and flat. So the next thing is to attach it to your pocket. So I also used my seam ripper to remove the stitches here so that I can place this pocket inside. So all you have to do is align your pocket and then make sure the sewing allowance for your pocket is inside the sewing allowance for the pants. So once you're done pinning your pockets to your main fabric and then pinning these sides down too, so a double stitch from this point down here and to this side before you now join your sewing allowance together, holding the pocket in. Okay, so I'm going to do that and repeat it for the second part of the trouser as well, after which you can now place the major pockets at the middle side and at the lower parts of our trouser. Okay, so I'm going ahead to iron the pockets, the sewing allowance of this cargo pocket. So it's time to place our pocket and then stitch it down. The next thing is to determine where you want to put your cargo pockets. For mine, I'll be making use of 4 inches from the bottom of our front pocket here. So just place your tape rule and mark out 4 inches on the center seam. This is a friction pen, so immediately I put my iron on this, it's going to erase it. So marking out that 4 inches, then you can place your cargo pockets. You know we joined the middle, so go ahead and place that same seam line of your pocket on the seam line of your trouser. And then a very important part is to make sure that all your seams are ironed flat and open, so that when you are sewing across it, it doesn't give you all those bumps that you might typically see in clothes that are not well finished. So our seams are open underneath this. Place your seam of the cargo pocket onto the seam of the main fabric of your trouser. And once they are fully aligned, all you have to do is just pin them in place. Once you have it pinned down, you can pin the lower part too, just to make things very easy for you and ensure that the pockets don't end up shifting upside down. You can pin this down as well. We've already established on this channel that pins are your best friend, so make sure you use them when necessary. Don't cheap out on your time, or don't cheap out based on the fact that you're tired. Make sure you use your pins so that you get the best results, the neatest result you can possibly get. Okay, now that this is pinned, we move to the lower part. I'm making use of 4 inches for this lower part as well. So measure and mark out 4 inches. Once marked out, take the lower pocket and place. But for this one, I'm going to mark another ½ inch, and that is because we're going to be adding the flap at this point. Because imagine if I join the pocket at this 4 inches mark, or at this 4-inch mark, it's going to shift up the actual measurement to most likely 3.5 when we end up adding the flap. And I don't want that. I want the gap in between both pockets to be exactly 4 inches. So I'll mark out another 0.5 inches here. And that is where I'll be placing this second cargo pocket. Once you have this all pinned down, the next thing is to add the flap. Figure out where you want as the front, and then go ahead and pin it down starting from that ½ inch mark. So start a double stitch from here, go across this point and back to this point, and then you repeat the same thing for this lower pocket as well. And then you go ahead and sew a straight stitch across this flap. Once you're done, you flip it like so, and then you top stitch on it, just so it lays flat and it doesn't end up lifting like this. Do you understand? And then make sure you repeat this on the second leg of your cargo trouser as well. So now that we're done adding the pockets, the next thing is to join the panels together. So the right leg and the left leg, we'll go ahead and join them together. So place the panels right sides facing each other, and you can go ahead to pin just so they don't move around. And once you're done pinning, we'll start by joining the crotch line. Another important thing to note is make sure you are opening all the seams. Make sure you are opening them and laying them flat before you make any joining. With a straight stitch, join them together. This is the back part, so we join with 0.5 inches, and the same thing for the front part as well, the front crotch. So take it to your sewing machine and join with a 0.5 inches straight stitch. So now I've gone ahead to join this down with a straight stitch, as you can see here, and I joined the other side as well. The next thing is to use your interlocking machine and weave this side. If you don't have an interlocking machine, you can make use of a bias tape to fold this raw edge, just so it doesn't continue to fray and just so it's not uncomfortable when you're clients or when you're wearing this trouser. Okay, so once you're done overlocking this part, the next thing is to open your trouser like so and flip it so that the front is where the front is meant to be and the back is where the back is meant to be, like this. Then that will leave us with joining the inner sides of our trouser. So starting from the crotch, make sure to pin it down. And one easy way to make sure that the measurement fully aligns and it doesn't shift is by starting from this crotch line that I'm pinning right now. Okay, so you take this to your sewing machine, and we're going to be joining with 1 inch. So from this point, you mark your 1 inch out and sew a straight line down to this side of the trouser. Once you're done sewing this, you remove it and then come back again from this point and sew from this same point to the other side of your trouser with the 1 inch allowance. That way, this crotch area is perfectly aligned without it being mismatched like you see in some trousers. I'm done joining the sides of the trouser and I've gone ahead to add ST to the band I'm going to be using. So for the band, all you need to do is measure the circumference of your band. If you're measuring like this, you know it's currently in half, so that will be times 2. For example, I think mine was about 36 inches, so the circumference would be 72 inches. So I've gone ahead to cut mine and then I made sure to iron ST onto the wrong side just so it has a bit of structure when you're done attaching. Oh my gosh guys, I lost audio at some point. I don't know how far back yet, but I'll figure it out. Okay, so I mentioned earlier, just to recap a bit, I have already cut out my band and joined it together. I've already added ST at the wrong side of my band, and another thing I've done is to add eyelets to the front of the band. This is where my drawstrings will be coming out of. And once you're done with this, you go ahead and cut out your elastic band. I mentioned earlier that you want to make sure to reduce about 4 to 5 inches from your elastic band so that it can be very firm against your waistline or your client's waistline. So for this cargo pant that I'm currently working on, I've reduced 4 inches. The next thing is to join the elastic band together, but instead of joining it like this, I prefer to join my elastic band like this. That way it has a seamless finish and it doesn't poke your client, it doesn't get uncomfortable when they wear their trouser. This way it has a clean and smooth finish. So once again, I'm sorry guys for the way my voice is sounding. I am just extremely tired. I've been at this for a while. I had a massive issue with my overlocking machine. That's why I've not been able to overlock this inner part. It's currently 5:03 and I'm yet to sleep. I'm extremely tired. And above all that, today is my birthday as well. So I'm just trying to finish up with this trouser so that I can meet up with my deadline. Okay, so back to sewing. On another thought, I think the method I'm going to be using this night is the method where I will go ahead and join this band together first. So what I mean by join is just to seal these parts together so that I can create a casing for my elastic band. So instead of joining this elastic thread now, I would create that casing first. So you start from around here, making sure to leave this part. So you use this part as a channel to enter into the casing with your elastic band. So I'll start from here and sew about 0.3 inches all around my band. Once I'm done with that, I will stop at this point as well, and then I will insert my elastic all the way around. And once it's come out of the second side, then I can go ahead and join it. So let me go do that, and then I'll come back to show you how to create those ridges you see on some bands. I intentionally use this yellow thread so you can see it, and since I'm going to be joining it to the band, to the waist anyways, it's not going to show, and I'm going to be overlocking it with an overlocking machine when I fix mine. So after creating the casing, go ahead and insert your elastic band and make sure it is laying flat all around. You don't want an elastic band that is twisting inside your casing. Okay, so once you're done with that, you can go ahead and create that ridge we spoke about earlier. All you need to do is make use of your pins to hold the elastic and main fabric together. What I like to do is hold the 4 cardinal points, like I like to call it. So hold the 4 points with your pins, that is the front, the back, and both sides. So it makes it easy when you are stretching the fabric and sewing on top of the elastic. Now that it's pinned down, the next thing you want to do is take it to your sewing machine, and with a straight stitch you sew a double line. But as opposed to the double lines you'll be doing on this cargo pockets and the cargo pants, this one would be at least 0.7 inches wide apart. For a quick visual representation of what I mean, this is your band. So you can measure and mark down 1 inch, measure and mark about 0.7 inches, or you can decide to make it 1 inch as well, 1 inch interval. So this 1 inch would be a form of casing too, and that's where you're going to pass your drawstrings through. So all you need to do now is follow this line, sew on this path all around, and then when you want to set the second one, start from the side where you started this one, because you don't want to completely sew this part together. If you do, there's no way you're going to pass your drawstring. So all you need to do is start from this same spot and end at this same spot, ensuring that you have this channel open where you can pass your drawstrings through and out from the eyelets. And speaking of eyelets, if you want to know how I fix these eyelets, I already have a very detailed video on my channel. I'm going to link it, so once you're done watching this video, you can check that out as well. And yeah, after that, all you need to do is pass your drawstring and attach it to your cargo trouser. All you need to do is pass your drawstring through the eyelet and attach the band to your trouser. I think I have a video of how to pass drawstring as well on my channel, but if you have any questions, please kindly leave it in the comment section below and I will be sure to respond to them. So once you're done with this, the only thing that is left, okay, not the only thing, but one of the major things that is left is to join this to this, your band to your waistline, to the waistline of your cargo pants. So one easy method to achieve this is with your pins. So go ahead and pin down the cardinal points once again. I had to remove the pins when passing the drawstring, so go ahead and insert them back. And once you're done with that, you can turn it inside out and right sides facing each other, appropriately attach the band to the trouser. You want to make sure that you open up all the seams, okay? So use your pin to pin it all around. Make use of the cardinal points where the pins are to make things easy for you. So you go ahead and use your pin to connect the front to the front, the back to the back, and the sides to the sides. That way it's easy for you to pull and sew all around. So now that you have it pinned down, run a straight stitch across with about 0.5 inches sewing allowance. And then once we're done, the only thing is to fringe the bottom part of our trouser. That's the M line. So once I'm done, I'll bring it here and just show you the quick process. And that is a wrap, guys. Okay, my love, so I've been able to join the band to the trouser, and this is what we have. All I need to do now is to take this to my ironing board and give it a very, very good press so that everything can lay as flat as possible. And then the last step for this trouser is to make sure your measurement is accurate, I mean lengthwise. So once you've gotten your length measurement, cut off all the excess, and then you can go ahead and fringe out the lower part like I mentioned. I tend to use about 3 to 4 inches for the hemline, the fringing of the hemline. So you can decide on how many inches you want it to be. I'll go ahead and do this off camera and then show you the final look. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And please, guys, make sure to subscribe to the channel, okay? Let us grow this channel together. Let us build a community of people who love sewing together, okay? Drop a like, drop a comment, and turn on your post notification so that you get notified immediately after I post. Thank you so much, guys, and until the next video. Bye!